I want to improve at Fortnite, and one of the best ways to do that is to learn a location on the map really well by dropping there 100 times. Today I'll be landing at Dusty Divot, one of the newest POIs in Fortnite OG. This is an incredibly popular location, and it's really going to push me to my limits. And as always, huge shout out to YouTuber TheNotable, who was the first to undertake the 100 drops challenge. A link to his channel will be in the description of this video. But we've spent enough time on the intro. I dropped Dusty Divot 100 times, and this is what happened. Here we are at game number 1 of dropping into Dusty Divot. These first games were recorded on the very first day of Season 4, so you already know this place was going to be busy as anything. Me and my brother dropped in some duos, I've touched the ground, and I'm dead. Yeah, this first game didn't start off too well. One thing you're definitely going to notice about Dusty Divot, especially in the early days, is just how many people drop there. There were a huge amount of games that ended with us getting killed in basically the first 2 seconds, and this is one of them. But that's okay, new season, new POI, of course it's going to be like this. And at least in game number 3 I was able to stop this guy from stealing my weapon. But one of Dusty Divot's millions of residents put me down soon after. Game number 4 ended the same way a lot of games in Dusty Divot end, with me not getting a gun. Yeah, things didn't turn out great. In game number 5, I discovered this building with 2 chests in it and decided to employ the hiding in the corner strategy. And yep, it actually worked. And then it worked again. Turns out a good corner can do wonders in Dusty Divot. Never mind, third time is not the charm. Game number 6, I dropped into one of the towers in Dusty, and these can be great for getting a few kills on some unsuspecting players. I managed to take out a few more people along the way. Guys, I'm telling you, the LMG is so good. I'm so happy it's back. You know what the LMG won't save you from, though? Soccer skins rushing you with hop rocks. Game number 7, I completely whiffed my hand cannon shot, and then was punished by the Fortnite gods. Game number 8 was the first time we ever actually escaped from Dusty Divot. The hop rocks are great for making a quick exit. We migrated over to Retail Row to farm up some materials. We did get rushed, but after the chaos of Dusty Divot, this place is child's play. I then got a cheeky thermal scope kill on this guy. The thermal scoped AR is another weapon I'm so happy to see return to the game. I really enjoy this one. We got into a build fight, but then I had a rocket dropped on my head. And game number 9 would be cut short in the war zone that is Dusty Divot. In game number 10, I thought I'd cook with this thermal scope. I did not. In game number 11, I blasted this guy outside of the 2 chest building. But then someone proceeded to blast me. Game number 12 got off to an alright start. I even found a chug jug. I gave it away because I'm just so benevolent. The universe did not reward my kindness. Dropping in some solos for game number 13. Grabbed a chest on the terror and then managed to get a nice early game kill. Let's make that 2. I got the hell out with the hop rocks. There's never any reason to stay in Dusty Divot longer than you need to. That's why. Game 14, these players were better than me. Game 15, I'm stuck with nothing but a hunting rifle. This was not going to end good. Nobody could have seen that coming. Game 16, you already know we're rocking the new Omega skin. I decided a quick exit from Dusty Divot was well within my best interest. The Divot in general can be an absolute death trap, and remember, here we're still in early Season 4, so you already know that every single person on the map was dropping there. If you manage to escape Dusty Divot, it's probably a good idea to go loot those houses near Salty Springs. And by the way, you can see me drop Salty Springs 100 times on another video on this channel. You know, just a little shameless plug. I spent a lot of time this match just having fun with the new OG Pass cosmetics. This has to be my favourite OG Pass so far. Some guy approached my little shack, so I rained assault rifle fire down on his head. I made it all the way to a top 2 situation and then completely screwed it up. Game 17, I'm dropping back into duos. You see, this is why I like the thermal scope. I'm able to just sit here on the wall of Dusty Divot, picking off people from a distance. And looks like it works pretty well at mid-range as well. Yeah, we killed those guys. And then some more people. Did I mention I like this gun? But all the good guns in the world won't stop you failing for second place. Game 18, more of the boys hopped on, so we're in squads now. The power of friendship did not win us the match. Game number 19 started with the usual chaos of Dusty Divot. But to my surprise, we actually managed to clear the place out. We left with the Hop Rocks and then carried on our crusade into Salty Springs. There were a lot of squads here, but we were moving like an absolute unit. There is no escaping the minigun. And then Fatal Fields was the next place we brought down our wrath. We were on a roll this match. Getting near the end of the game and I'm posted up on a hill with a thermal scoped AR. Nothing can stop me. Ah, well, turns out the LMG works just as good. I was even able to pop the revive on my friend. And with all of us together on height, we got the first victory royale, dropping into Dusty Divot. Feels good, man. This was still day 1 of the season as well. But then in game number 20, our team was not quite as fortunate. In game 21, we were swarmed by an ungodly amount of players and we were killed very soon after. We spent a load of game 22 just playing around with the new shopping carts. And yes, we did test them with a rift. We still had time for a bit of killing though. That wasn't until my entire team was brutally slaughtered. The 1v4 was not happening. Game 23 was very much an average day in Dusty Divot, because it ended in us dying. Game 24, not even the aid of Sabrina Carpenter could help us win the match.
Oh my god! Sabrina! Oh!
Game 25, we got stuck in an incredibly sweaty build fight and did not come out the other side very healthy. Back in solos for game 26. And I'm picking off some guys outside the divot. That was until the neighborhood sweat came along and ripped me to pieces. And game 27 was equally as sweaty. If I had one piece of advice for Dusty Divot, it's that don't be afraid to drop on the outskirts of the location. Sometimes this place is just too damn full of people, and that's alright. Dropping away from the action can definitely help increase your chances of survival. But it didn't this match. Game 29, I hit a pretty good shotgun blast, but in the end it didn't matter. Game 30, I unlocked the Golden Omega style, and I'm taking the chance to flex it. It does not make me any better at the game. Game 31, I did not get the gun. Then in game 32, I was immediately killed off drop again. Don't worry though, in game 33, I made it out of Dusty Divot, so I got straight to shooting. I know I've said it already, but damn the LMG is good. Final circle and I'm hiding in a tree, things aren't looking too good. I then got trapped in storm and died. Oh my goodness. I didn't live long enough to embarrass myself in game 34. Game 35 was going pretty decent, until it wasn't. Game 36, I made it to the final circle, but I'm convinced the people in said circle thought we were playing in the Fortnite World Cup. Yeah, I'm dead. Game 37, I'm fleeing Dusty Divot because my life quite literally depends on it. And looks like it's time to sweat in an outrageous build fight. And then after all that, this happens. I was destined to do well in this game though, god damn, look at that loot. I spied some people build fighting, but luckily I had an RPG. I had another close encounter, but I managed to win the fight. But now the last guy's on high ground and absolutely spamming guided missiles at me. I had to reach him somehow, so I started clutching up and blocking every single guided missile he threw my way. after literally all of that, the guy blew himself up. I mean, let's go! Game 38, I've made it to a top 3 situation, and I'm hankering for that back-to-back wins. And as I'm waiting in my little metal base, it becomes a 1v1. I have become the very thing I swore to destroy. It's time to spam guided missiles. And I pull out the ultimate surprise attack on this guy. It was easy to finish him off after that. Back-to-back wins, baby. But Game 39 was not about to secure the hat-trick. And in Game 40, the Divot claimed my soul. Game 41 was an absolutely chaotic drop that ended in my immediate death. Then in Game 42, I was viciously beaten by another player. Game 43, I only lasted a few seconds longer. Game 44, things got real sweaty real fast. Game 45, I stupidly blew myself up. Yeah, I totally deserved to lose that fight. And Game 46, I was killed straight off drop. Game 47, I was trapped in Storm and playing like a bot. I LMG'd my little heart out in Game 48, but it didn't matter. Game 49, me and my brother are dropping Dusty Divot, because that's the whole point of the video. Ugh. Don't worry guys, I'm sure Game 50 is gonna be better. Game 51, I got distracted by this guy with a hop rock, leaving myself open to get my head blown off by this guy. I saw the building in Game 52 and knew we didn't have a chance. Game 53, I was doing pretty well. Didn't last long though. Game 54 ended with a full-on jump scare. We started off Game 55 grabbing some kills in Dusty Divot. We managed to make it all the way into the end game, so we built a base and waited for the enemies to come into our sights. And when they reared their heads, they met our dual rocket launchers, winning us the game. Feels good. But you know what doesn't feel good? Game 56. And neither does Game 57. But hey, I promise Game 58 is going to be a good one.
I lied.
But I'll tell you the truth about Game 59. It sucked. Game 60 was just pure chaos. It's a miracle we survived as long as we did. Game 61 had some crazy box fight looking final circle. These guys definitely play a lot of creative. Game 62 started with me employing a little bit of double pump in Dusty Divot. I then did it again and nearly died, but we're going to ignore that part because I won. I then spent the rest of the game just farming materials. You can end up dead in those final circles if you don't have an insane amount of mats. Fortunately, I had quite a few mats and was able to start build fighting the last guy. It was an intense fight. This guy did not want to go down. But after a long build fight, I was able to pull out the cheeky shotgun blast for the win. Damn, that guy had some crazy loot. Game 63 ended quite unceremoniously. And in Game 64, I was given a rude introduction to this shotgun. Game 65 was going quite well and I was winning some fights. I even found a llama. There was no way I could lose this game. Well, crap. I don't think Game 66 is going to be making it into any sniping montages. Game 67, I ran away from one guy and straight into another. Game 68 ain't making it into those montages either. Game 69, I got sneak attacked by a rocket. Then in Game 70, I was publicly executed while trying to loot. Game 71, I left the Divot with the nearby hop rocks. I did not want to deal with all those people. But that doesn't matter when a sweat seeks you out. I spent most of Game 72 hiding in a metal base trying to get a good look at the other players. Turns out they found me before I had a chance to find them. Some early kills in Dusty in Game 73. And we're back to spam farming materials for the endgame. Kept on moving and grabbed a couple more kills. But then everything came crashing down when I was snuck up on in the final circle. Very close encounter in Game 74. I was just trying to heal up when I got pounced on. Whoa, 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 hey. In Game 75, I fell victim to the infamous boogie bomb. Just pretend you didn't see that. In game 76, I learned I'm clearly not very good at pushing with the hop rocks. In game 77, I'd barely touched the ground before I was obliterated. And game 78 was a total disaster. Game 79, I was outsprayed by a fellow SMG user. Then in game 80, I said if I'm going down, then you're coming down with me. Game 81, I'm trapping up a door with C4. This guy did not see it coming. I tried to get a few more kills, but this sniper had other plans. Game 82, I think I was being teamed on by literally every single player in the match. And in game 83, I was demolished by a man who has never seen grass. In game 84, I'm playing duos and letting the team down. Yeah, that was my bad. Game 85, he had the high ground, and there was no power for him to underestimate. In game 86, I'm playing some squads with the boys, cleaning out Dusty Divot. But we got straight out of there. Dusty Divot is a great place to get ambushed. We spent a heck of a long time farming mats. In my opinion, it's probably the best way to secure a win. We got in a skirmish with another squad, but I could actually hit my shots. I chased down the enemies like a Fortnite player who hasn't showered since 2017. We also dueled another enemy team on top of a mountain. Things went pretty well and we finished them off fast. And this game came down to us building a massive skybase to channel the true glory of Fortnite OG. Although we did end up just abandoning the skybase and going down to kill the last guy. Still won though. Game 87 were posted up on top of a mountain yet again. We were trading rockets back and forth with the enemy team, desperately hoping our builds didn't come crashing down. Zone was forcing everyone to move, so we popped a launch pad. But we just landed ourselves in another fight. Our team was dropping like flies and it came down to only me and my brother left. I managed to hit the enemies for some nasty damage, but then I tragically died as well. It was only my brother left and he managed to hold the last guy in Storm and get us the win. And that right there is another back-to-back wins. I'ma just spoil it right now. We did not get 3 in a row. In game 89, I got sniped for what seems to be the 50th time in this video. Yeah, we died. And in game 90, we're dead again. In game 91, I stupidly switched to my scoped AR and get melted. Honestly, just watch what happens in game 92. Yep, sounds about right. Game 93, I didn't read the safety manual for the C4. Game 94 was a classic Dusty Divot death. And Game 95 followed that trend. Game 96 was over in the blink of an eye. In Game 97, I was killed near instantly. And then in Game 98, he was better than me. Game 99, I was trapped on the low ground with no HP. Game 100 has finally arrived, and I wish I could tell you it was something special, but to be honest, it was the most typical Dusty Divot game you have ever seen in your life. Dusty Divot is an absolute gauntlet, and when dropping at this location, you need to be ready for anything. I cannot tell you the number of games that ended with me dying immediately and getting no kills. It happens almost all the time when you drop here and it's busy. But if there's a location that's going to help you improve your skills at Fortnite, this is it. Dropping here and just fighting good players over and over and over again is really going to help build up your ability when playing the game. Overall, I managed 7 wins out of Dusty Divot, which I was pretty happy with. I didn't even think I was going to break 5. And finally, I racked up 145 kills when dropping here, which is far less than previous 100 drops. But like I said, a lot of games ended in the first 5 seconds dropping at this location. As always, I've had a fantastic time undertaking this challenge, and I'm sure soon I'll be back dropping into another location 100 times. But until then, this has been great. That's all, folks.